So without further delay, I'd like to introduce Kelli Brisbane, and she is the Director of Partnership at GO Laurel Highlands, and she is going to moderate our afternoon panel. I'll just quickly introduce our panelists. We have Michael Roselle from the Westmoreland Symphony Orchestra, Kelli Brisbane, who is from the Hilton Garden Inn in Uniontown, Patrick Bocci from West Silverton Villages Museum, and Maximilian Merrill from Honvay Distillery. Thank you for joining us.
Yep.
So I'm not as exciting as George Washington. I haven't traveled far and wide. I have come here from Hunker, Pennsylvania today to see all of you. Originally from Greensburg, and I lived in New York City and Europe for many, many years as a professional actress. And for those of you that travel, you know how important it is to go away and to get great ideas. And as Dawn was saying, Philadelphia with these carts, they are likely willing to let us steal the idea. I think it's important to steal ideas from different areas and bring them back to home. This is a really great panel conversation, and I'm really excited to be a part of it because collaboration and ideas are really what I'm most passionate about. As the Director of Partnership Development at GO Laurel Highlands, I get to learn what you do, what you bring to the table for our visitors, and I told my table I feel like a Jewish yenta. I get to matchmake, and I get to put people together like Dawn does, and it's so rewarding to see people collaborate and really grow partnerships together. So today we're going to talk about inspire organizations to work together and collaborate for America's 250th and beyond, and how important it is to not look at each other as competition. In many small cities, you sometimes will have an event and then somebody else has an event that's very similar and you're like, oh my gosh, they just stole my event. And I used to do that when I worked at the Cultural Trust. And then you have to merge together. So I started an all-day art event at Westmoreland Cultural Trust. And I invited the Westmoreland Museum of Art to participate in the event. And then the next year, we worked together and we created the Arts Walk, which still exists. So it's really about taking a step back, seeing who has the same vision, mission, ideas, or maybe something completely different. Maybe you have an event and you need lodging, and it's about connecting the pieces. So today we've got a really great crew. I don't know if you picked this purposely, but we have 2 whiskeys for me. You know, George Washington was with history, so I'm like, what's mine? Whiskey, lodging, and music. So I guess it does make sense, yes? All right, so we're gonna start with Michael. You're in the hot spot.
All right.
Can you please tell us about your organization and give an example of a way that your group has collaborated for a program or a specific event?
Yes, I'm the executive director for the past year of the Westmoreland Symphony Orchestra. Before that, I am a retired teacher. I taught for 32 years, and my career was all about collaboration. So when I came to the symphony, and then I met Dawn, as we were programming this new season, which opened 2 weeks ago, I called Dawn up and I said, we have to collaborate. Our concert is called American Mosaic, and we need to talk about the Mosaic Bell and how we can do this together. So Dawn and Sylvia from the museum were at our concert along with several people from GO Laurel Highlands, and we had tables set up with A250 stuff, and Dawn and Sylvia introduced Mandy, the artist who will do the Mosaic Bell here in Westmoreland County, and it just became this really cool collaboration from a cup of coffee in White Rabbit in Greensburg. So, of course, you know, we musicians are all about collaboration, and that was my first venture in this new position.
I'm saying about it. Still. Next one.
Patrick, this one's for you. Sure. So what do you think the benefits of collaborating with other organizations and community groups or businesses has been for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, my name's Patrick. Co-executive director for West Overton Village and Museum and West Overton Distilling Company. And I've had the pleasure of collaborating with Michael in the past. I've had the pleasure of collaborating with Maximilian in the past. And they are strong collaborations. as a nonprofit museum, as a very small nonprofit museum, collaborations are lifelong, right? It allows us to reach a completely different audience. Michael's audience is much different than West Overton's. Maximilian's is much different than West Overton's, the Westmoreland, et cetera, et cetera. But if Michael wants to hold a concert at my venue, it brings 200 people that would normally not come to West Overton Village. If our whiskey event coming up next weekend, that's a shameless plug, visit our website for tickets. Maximilian is coming to Scottsdale from Somerset. He's reaching a whole new audience, right? Another benefit is I have 3 full-time staff members. One of them is not a dedicated marketing person. So if Maximilian, if Michael happens to mention West Overton Village in their promotion of their events happening at West Overton Village, guess what? That's free advertising that only benefits both organizations, correct?
So, yeah, they get supposed to.
And then to loop Kathy in on that, then they can wander over and have a place to sleep, right? Yes. So Kathy, have you worked with different organizations yet or collaborated in different types of activities and then bringing people to stay? And can you explain a little bit about how someone might approach that with your organization?
Yes, absolutely. One of the partners that we work closely in collaboration with is Falling Water, and we're a partner in education with them. So we make a donation to them each year, and in turn, then they put us on their website, and we get travelers that come in from lots of different areas. Falling Water attracts people from lots of different countries. It's really interesting to see who comes in and how long they come and stay. So not only do they come and see Falling Water, but they visit all different areas in the Laurel Highlands, really. So it'll be exciting to have those people coming from different countries and being able to celebrate the Amendment's 250 and Pennsylvania's 250. And we also have Fayette's 250 as well, is also in 2026. So we've got like a trifecta of things going on in our area. But most recently, we've started doing tastings of different alcohols. So already sitting next to these gentlemen here, we had a whiskey in our mind for January. So just asking, can we buy your product at the liquor store? Yes, we can. So there's already another collaboration starting here, which they can see us breaking that into our area and then looping the 3 counties together too.
Yes.
Maximilian, what is the most unique collaboration that you've participated in thus far, and how did that go for you?
Most unique.
Okay.
You were going to give me these questions ahead of time, apparently. Well, I'll tell you one that I did last night. There was a Philadelphia Women's Power Conference at the Convention Center, and they asked us to they had a bunch of different state distilleries there to do a tasting. Fastest demographic growing in whiskey consumers is women right now, and I jumped at that opportunity. And I got to be face to face with 5,000 women that loving whiskey. It was great. We've worked with the Linear Farmers Markets folks to the Highway Museum, the West Overton Museum, which is one of our top collaborators at top nonprofits we like to work with, because when they succeed telling the story about Western Pennsylvania whiskey production, we succeed. So we love partnering with them as well.
Thank you.
Back to you, sir. What are some challenges that may have come along with working with another group or organization that you can elaborate on? We have a big script here. We're in trouble.
I've made a list. So when I got this question, I thought about it from the perspective of my teaching career, as well as here as an executive director of the symphony. So these are just some things that I made some mental notes of. Communication breakdowns. That's one of the biggest barriers to collaboration. If you are not communicating 100% with each other, then a lack of communication is going to lead to delays and confusion. diverging goals or priorities. If you as a team member decide that your goals have shifted, and goals can shift, and that's okay, but if you shift your goals and then expect the team to follow you without communication, there's going to be a problem. And again, it's all about communication. And again, yeah, goals can shift, but communicate that. Unequal contribution. That's a big one with education. You know, when teachers give group projects and one student does the project for 5 students. But I see that oftentimes in the professional world as well. Some members do all of the work, some members take all of the credit. We've all been there. Yeah. Conflicting personalities. Oftentimes you have to put your personality aside and work hand in hand to collaborate to get the best outcome. It's not about you, it's about the outcome. And I think especially with work styles, that's a big one. You know, I have a member of my staff that's a part-time member. He has a full-time job and he works on symphony stuff, evenings and weekends type of thing. And when I hired him, my assistant said, "I'm so sick of waiting for Adam to respond until the next day." And I said, "Adam's doing that at like 1 o'clock in the morning because he's a millennial and that's what he does his best work." And we have to adapt to that. So, you know, work styles, yeah. Power struggles, that's a big one also. How many times have we all been part of a team and one person is maybe charged with being the head of that team and somebody else wants that job? And they are the ones who are going to go behind the back and try and maybe do some decision making on their own. That leads to lack of trust. And lack of trust can break a collaboration faster than anything. When you collaborate, you have to put your trust in your team members. And if you can't, there's going to be a breakdown. At times, if you are collaborating virtually, time zone collaboration is hard because you have to, there's a delay in productivity just because you are waiting for somebody to respond to something. Limited resources. Competition for access to shared resources such as time, equipment, or funding can create stress and conflict. This is an important one. Cultural differences. I wrote, diverse backgrounds and perspectives may lead to misinterpretation or discomfort in communication or collaboration. I've seen that happen. I've seen that happen at the education level a lot. Decision-making bottlenecks. Slow or indecisive decision-making can just slow that process down. And sometimes you just need to say, decide, damn it. Just do it, right? But sometimes that bottleneck happens and it's painful. Groupthink. That's a really hard one because the pressure to conform is real. And sometimes it's the person who won't conform that maybe brings the best energy to the group. And then, of course, intellectual property. That's also a big one. You know, everybody loves good ideas, but you don't want to dispute the ownership of somebody's intellectual property. So I'm sure there are probably about 100 more, but that's what I came up with over the past few days. So yeah.
Can I jump in?
Absolutely.
Tim?
Yeah, sure.
There you go.
So one of West Overton's largest collaborators is a worldwide corporation. It's one of the largest whiskey, liquor, distilleries, distributors in the world. Suntory Global Spirits, Jim Beam, right? Small, non-profit, worldwide billion-dollar corporation. How do you navigate those waters when they own your IP, for lack of better words, old overhaul? Anytime I want to say the words old overhaul, I have to get permission from Jim Beam. Anytime I want to show a picture of a bottle of old overhaul, even if it's in the museum, they know that IP, old overhaul. They have to approve it. How do you navigate those waters? It's difficult, it's frustrating, and you have to put differences aside. You have to put the end of the day goals aside and work together. Because without being Suntory, I don't know where West Overton would be, quite frankly. You know, they're a tremendous supporter of ours. So that's just one example of a large collaboration with West Overton.
Do either of you tell them that before we get them up then? Good. Thank you. Yeah.
Patrick, this is actually for you as well. What role do you see America's 250th having on your projects and potential collaborations? And do you currently have any plans?
Again, West Overton, we love to collaborate with friends, with new folks, and it's going to be an instrumental part of what we do moving forward, regardless of the time, regardless of how many years in the future. We definitely have plans, and those plans start with a conversation, right? What's the worst that's going to happen if I reach out to Erica at the Westmoreland and be like, I have an idea. You want to get a cup of coffee? And it might work out, it might not, but at least we're having that conversation, right? If I want to reach out to Maximilian here, hey, what's more American, what's more Pennsylvania history than rye whiskey? We both have distilleries. What's that collaboration look like? How can we capitalize on that? So those collaborations start with a conversation. And if that conversation goes nowhere, at least you're having a conversation. You know, that might turn into a collaboration down the road for something new, something different. So GO Laurel Highlands has done a lot of the legwork here. They put you all in a room together, right? If I want to talk to Mariska and Red, I have a venue. You want to do a play at West Overton in a couple years? Let's talk. You know, like exactly. You know, like there are conversations to be had. You know, and a lot of the legwork is done. Westmoreland heritage. If you're in Westmoreland County, those connections are there. It's just a matter of going out and having a cup of coffee. But to get back to the question, West Overton does have plans, you know, and they're tentative, so I can't get really into the weeds, but we're going to have some conversations with some local distilleries and look at some collaborations to celebrate, you know, that unique and forgotten history of Pennsylvania. You know, yeah, if you said the word whiskey before Prohibition, you weren't talking Kentucky, Scotland, Ireland, you were talking about Pennsylvania-made whiskey, right? And we want to capitalize on that.
Kathy, why do you believe it's important for our Laurel Highlands region to commemorate America's 250th anniversary? And what unique opportunities does this milestone offer for local communities? And how do you feel that we keep this momentum going beyond 2026?
Yes, as we've said many times today, there's a lot of history in the area. There's a lot of history surrounding these three counties and through Pennsylvania and through American history. I just feel like if we've all worked together, we can certainly come up with some great ideas, which we've got in this room already. It's important to bring revenue into the area, bring revenue into Pennsylvania, have those people stay not just for a day trip, but have them come and stay for a weekend or for a long weekend, maybe 3 nights stay. They can get to see other areas outside of Fayette County. They can see Westmoreland, they can see Somerset, go around to all those, and then like Dawn said earlier, it gets back to revenue and bringing that money in, bringing dollars in for the tourist tax, basically, which helps all of the organizations in this room be able to get their grant money and be able to do improvements to their area, be able to bring other people in, marketing into the area, and just it's a win for everybody.
Can I add something real fast? So in last fall, I had reached out to Patrick and said, I want to do a concert at West Overton in the barn. And we decided it would be a cello concert. And that cello group played everything from the Schubert Ave Maria to, it was like a heavy metal, like Metallica or something. What's that? Yeah, it was a good one, whatever it was. Right? But when I welcomed everybody at that concert, I said, let me go over the rules. The rules are, you have fun, and the bar is always open. That collaboration was so crucial for us. And I know that it was beneficial for you as well, but it was crucial for us because at that concert, I walked away with 2 brand new season subscribers and a sponsor at a $1,500 level that had never sponsored us before. And that all came from that simple collaboration.
Right.
While we're on that topic, let's just continue. So how do you get stakeholders in your community to not just get involved, but to really be energized? We were talking about this at our table a little bit. How do you get them energized and excited to join you? And then how do you keep them engaged to ensure that everyone feels like their time is well spent?
So, you know, we are a subscription ticket sale based group. When I interviewed for the job a year ago, the board said, what do you think will be your biggest challenge? I said, I think quite literally, your audience is dying, right? Dying off, because old people go to symphonies. And they laughed and they said, but you're right. And I said, so then the idea is to get younger audience members, new younger audience members. I've pulled in new board members who are young. I've pulled in new subscribers who are young. And that's to breathe new life into the symphony. I've also tried to maybe re-image us a little bit. You know, I was asked to speak at the Greensburg Rotary about the symphony, and my opening slide was, the Westmoreland Symphony, it ain't just for old people. Because that's what people think. You wear your gowns and your tuxedos with your top hats and you go to the symphony and you have to act proper. That's why I said at that concert, there are no rules. How many times have you been to any type of classical music concert and you don't know when to clap? You know, do I clap between this movement? No. Well, I said, enough of that. Clap whenever it makes you happy. I want to produce a more relaxed environment because that's what's going to bring the stakeholders in, and that's what's going to keep them. Nobody wants to go to a place where they feel stressed out, especially post-pandemic. I think post-pandemic, we all just want to go and enjoy ourselves and relax a little bit. So my perspective with our stakeholders is, we're going to get you here, and we don't care. I don't care what you wear. I don't care how many times you applaud. We just want you to relax and have fun. At our February concert last year, this is kind of funny, we did a concert, we marketed it as Beethoven's Fifth. But there was another piece on the first half of the concert where we hired an accordion player from China who came in. And I inherited this concert this season, so I'm like, accordion, what? How are we? And I kept telling my marketing director, don't market the accordion. Stay with Beethoven's Fifth. Everybody loves Beethoven. This woman was insane. It was the highlight of the concert, not only for me, but for the audience members. And at the end of the concert, this one man and woman came up to me. She was in jeans and a hoodie that was unzipped. He was in a t-shirt, kind of stretched out t-shirt. They had tattoos and piercings. And the guy came up to me and said, you're that executive director guy, right? I said, I am. He said, man, they were effing shredding it up there. I said, you're right, they were. By the way, can I take a picture of you? Because I wanted them to be on our website, because they were certainly non-traditional symphony goers. And I think that's what we have to do to our stakeholders to keep them active and interested, is meet them where they are.
We have 2 more questions, and I think I'm going to just ask them to all of you because I'm interested in hearing what you each have to say. What would be your dream collaboration?
No seal.
Oh,
Then that's a good one.
Yo-Yo Ma. Or you know what? Dawn, you gave me the idea. We've talked about this. Bringing Yo-Yo Ma for a Mr. Rogers collaboration, Mr. Rogers concert. That, I think, to me, that would sell so many tickets. But that would be such a cool collaboration. Also, there are a few of you, you know, I want to talk to you. I'm trying to, as we begin to program season 25, 26, I want to do in our concert basically a history of the Westmoreland region, industry, architecture, all of that stuff, and put that into a concert. So I think that would actually be a pretty epic concert as well. So yeah, those are ideas.
I'm proud of it. Thanks, Phil.
I think something that would be great for our region, youth watch television and you watch Yellowstone and you see all of these reasons then to go to Yellowstone because you've seen it on television. If there could be some sort of show or work with the Pittsburgh Film Office to get something recorded in this area that would then want people across the country to visit our area because they saw this television show, you know, think about the Rocky Mountains. All these things are quoted in music and song or in television. And that's where people go because of this. I'm sure that Yellowstone has seen a lot more visitors. Pandemic probably helped that a little bit, but with this television show that's out there, we're all watching it and see what's on television. So now that brings people to the area, and I think our area has so much to give that would be something that if we could work with the film office, I know it's a very big dream in order to get the right actor and the right things going on in our area, but that would be one of my big collaborations.
That's all. What am I saying?
I think one collaboration I would like to incorporate, and also with the nonprofit, is I'd like to bring some of those brand names home to Pennsylvania and work with someone like Beam Centauri to make Pennsylvania product again at the Monongahela Rye. Maybe even bring Old Overholt back into Pennsylvania. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's just so we can reclaim our heritage, and you know, maybe we start those conversations. Maybe they could do some sort of small batch. You know, put it in all of the PLCD stores, and you know, $2 a bottle goes to your organization. Good idea. Let's push that one. Another one would be a dream collaboration, maybe with your organization or some of the film organizations that do a documentary on whiskey production in this area. You know, there is, you know, our Fayette County had, you know, 10 plus distilleries. Somerset County had 14 distilleries. Cambria County had many different brands. I mean, this whole Western Pennsylvania region is so rich in whiskey heritage that most people don't know. So that would be a collaboration as well. And both of those type of, even though they're totally different, will get people back here and rediscovering the gateway to the West.
And I would say, on speaking of West Overton Village Museum, we have one of our dream collaborators, and that is Beam Centauri, and that's no joke. West Overton Village Museum, if you don't know, is the spiritual birthplace of the oldest continuously made whiskey in America, that being Old Overholt. It was produced here in Westmoreland County till the 1930s before it was sold off, and then eventually 1987, Jim Beam acquires the brand. And they still make it today in Claremont, Kentucky. But they have been instrumental in West Overton's recent success. They have invested money with us. We recently opened the James Beam Pennsylvania Whiskey Heritage Center, featuring the Sam Comletta Gallery, which is the largest collection of Pennsylvania whiskey history in the world. Right? Absolutely, yes. So I highly, you know, to Maximilian's point, there was a lot of whiskey being produced here in Western Pennsylvania that history has been forgotten. So we would like to shine a spotlight back onto that, and that's what we're trying to do. And Suntory Global Spirits is a huge part of us being able to do that. But on the other side, West Overton Village was a company town, and it's, you know, it originally had a textile factory. I would love to work with someone like Lowell National History Park and do, and the Cumberland Gallery here in St. Vincent, you know, a three-way collaboration, and put a spotlight on that type of agricultural history as well. Because as Tom pointed out earlier, we had not only the whiskey, but we have the farmland. We have the grains that were then translated into different products.
You guys have your wheels spinning, new ideas. It's really exciting. All right, this is our last question. What actionable item would you recommend to organizations that want to expand their efforts to collaborate, and how do you bring sectors together?
It does sound like I think about that.
I think events like this, obviously this is just one day, but we've learned a lot from each other, and sitting with people that are in our same industry or in other industries would help us to collaborate together. As far as actionable, I would just say to continue to meet. This is not over today, and this is just beginning today. We have meetings in each different county. Obviously, Dawn is holding the Westmoreland, and the Somerset is not far from here. We have a Fayette County 250 meeting on Wednesday at the Hilton Garden Inn. If anybody's interested in that, let me know. But we're hosting those, and just in order to collaborate together, we work closely with the Fayette Chamber, and all of the organizations come into that. It's just really a domino effect, and to keep the momentum going.
What was the second part of that question? Actionable item again?
How do you bring the sectors together?
Actionable item would be just to keep on trying things and coming up with ideas. Like, we've done so many crazy things, for a distillery, and reaching out to other groups throughout the state. And sometimes sometimes they're gonna be great, and sometimes they're not gonna be great, and you just learn from that experience and you keep on moving. So the actionable item is just keep on trying stuff until it sticks. Some of our events we have line dancing now with this a group, and it's been very beneficial, and it's taken off. Who would have thought line dancing? I thought it was a stupid. We've had we're having a little craft fair, for the Christmas craft fair inside with with the chamber and a bunch of folks in town as well. And always reach out to nonprofits, private corporations, civic groups. I mean, we did a charitable, for breast cancer awareness, we got a puzzle contest, and there were 400 people in the distillery, no, 200 people, 200 people in the distillery, just doing puzzles. Who would have thought that? They came through like 5 states. I mean, we're like, oh, we just drove 5 hours to only do a puzzle, and they did it in like 30 minutes and left. It was crazy. So just, anything, reach out to people. People love collaboration, and it's never a stupid idea.
Look at the challenges y'all are having, or the problems, and how, if we were to collaborate with someone, how would that fix it, right? West Overton has 40 acres. We wanted 5 acres to grow our own rye, but guess what West Overton doesn't have? We don't have a tractor. We don't have a plow. We don't have a disc, but our neighbors do at the Fort Allen Antique Farm Equipment Association. Let's just walk across and say, hey, will you help us, and we'll start this relationship back up, right? And that's literally how that happened. So now we grow our own rye on site, again, for the first time since Prohibition. And it all started with a simple question. I mean, at worst, what are they gonna say? No, exactly. And then you're like, cool, look for someone else with a tractor. But that's think about those types of challenges and how a partner could help alleviate some of those problems, right? And it all starts with that simple, hey, we have this idea, could you help? What do you think? And it might turn into nothing, it might turn into a future collaboration, but you need to have that conversation, right? Because if we're succeeding, if Fort Allen is succeeding, if Ponte is succeeding, this region is succeeding, Pennsylvania is succeeding. And that's how our relationship with Jim Beam started. Who would think that Jim Beam would support something as small as West Overton, starting about 10 years ago? It all started with a simple conversation, and now it's going into something very successful at the end of the day.
I think just to simplify it, the best actionable item is a cup of coffee or lunch. Sylvia from the Westmoreland, I believe you started like a month before me, right? Yeah. And so when we met, I said, hey, let's go grab lunch. And it was just to get to know each other. And by the end of that conversation, I had booked 2 concerts at the Westmoreland, October 3rd and April 3rd. Shameless plug, April 3rd. Westmoreland Wind Quintet. But they're in conjunction with exhibits. I talked to Dawn and said, let's grab a cup of coffee. We actually have another coffee date scheduled soon because I have another idea. So that's it. It's just the ask. It's, here's an idea, help me figure it out. That's how you do. And then you go from there.
Before we open up for questions, I want to share one story. And I think, Tom, you were at this workshop that I heard this story the first time. There was a gentleman who was talking about, he was doing some marketing for a skating rink, a roller rink. And there was a huge pile of skates in the corner. And the guy said to the owner, well, what's that? What are those? And the guy said, oh, those are dead skates. Well, what are dead skates? Well, they don't work anymore. They can't be used. This brilliant man picked up a skate. There was an after-school program for children at the roller rink to keep them off the streets. And he took them over to the kids and said, I want you all to sign this. That skate then became a staple for this after-school group where they raised money, and you would go into somebody's office and you would see a dead skate, and you knew they were a part of the Dead Skate Club. So even something like garbage that we talk about, just think outside the box. It doesn't have to be something you do. It can be something educational. It can be something within the community that it's just a little nod to know that that person was involved in it. So do we have any questions? Megan, I'd also like you to tell them a little bit about what you were doing whenever you were doing the same sort of thing.
Sure. My name is Megan Orient, and my husband was in the military for 22 years, and one of our assignments was Iroquois, Virginia, and I worked as the tourism manager for Stafford County, and I was involved with the 400th anniversary of the founding of Jamestown and the state's anniversary. One of the challenges I had was they had a promotional sale of a historic replica ship that was coming up the Potomac River, and our county basically touched the Potomac River where we had a county park, and they said, bring the ship here. So we had to figure out a way to bring a ship to a place where we didn't have a dock. Now, we didn't build a dock because we couldn't build a dock in a year and get all the permitting and everything we needed, but we were able to, I had to learn about being in a tidal area, which I didn't know anything about boats or tides, but we were able to figure out a way to get the ship to anchor in the channel, and we got a floating dock, and we gave pontoon rides out around the boat. Nobody could even get on the boat, but we brought the boat in, and we built an event around it, and everybody had a great time. But one of the things I was going to share is, even with that 400th anniversary, you can only do so much in 12 months, which is about where we are before 2026 kicks off. So keep moving, even if it's something that you can't finish in 2026 or it presents itself in 2026. It may start now, and it may still come to fruition. So don't worry about the deadline so much, but keep the ideas going.
Thanks.
Bob.
Anyone else?
Anyone?
I think they're all tapped out.
I think that.
Well, I just want to call Dawn back up to the podium. Let's please put our hands together for Dawn. She put a lot of time and effort into securing really special speakers, panelists, and I'm just so proud. She's my office mate. She's next to me. We typically match, and we don't plan it, and we actually match again today.
It happens all the time that we match. I just want to say a couple quick thank yous. Thank you to Westmoreland Community College for having us here today. I think this facility has been amazing. And if you ever have any events, they're just wonderful to work with. I also want to thank Ann Minnick. She's actually gone for the afternoon, but this was actually her idea. This was not my idea to have this summit. So I want to give her the intellectual property to say that it was her idea. And mostly I want to thank all the people that came and participated and participated as speakers and panelists, because all these ideas would have been generated without all of you. So I just wave my magic wand to empower you to go out and do great things and have a really great weekend.